My name is Nicole Mendy with DHS Management, and I have Xfinity Mobile. I love that it connects to the Xfinity Wi-Fi anywhere I travel, and I get great service even when I go up north to visit my cousins in a very rural area. I love that it's also very inexpensive. I have the pay by the gig, and I put the unlimited data on my husband's phone alone, and my bill is under $100 a month, and he's on his phone a lot. I would highly recommend checking this out and getting this great deal for yourself.
Hello, my name is Eric Williams, and I'm a Comcast employee. And in 2009, I made the great decision to go back to school, and I chose the University of Phoenix. Why? Because it's a great institution, and it fit into my working lifestyle. And I encourage you to join the University of Phoenix. It gave me the business acumen to launch my own home web-based business, Detroit Made Inc., which is an apparel company that caters to the success and the rebirth of Detroit. So University of Phoenix, I thank you. Go back to school, get your Associates of Art degree or whatever degree you want at the University of Phoenix. You won't regret it. I am Detroit Made because of University of Phoenix.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Hey, That's Easy, the variety show showcasing topics that are helpful and easy, and for this episode, inspiring. I'm your host, Lawton Luntz. Episode 4 features stories of overcoming obstacles, recovery, and community. My co-host is Ava Anvari. Welcome. We have some amazing stories and guests for this episode.
Yes, we do. I've been waiting for a month. It's so exciting, so inspirational. I can't wait to hear their stories. I know we're not the first ones who got to hear their stories. They've been around for quite a while doing good deeds. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lon. Let's get started. I'm just so excited.
4 stories that absolutely need to be told. And I mentioned in the open that this was a variety show, but also a collaboration between the University of Phoenix and the communities team from Xfinity. Huge thank you to Eric Williams. You may remember from the February episode. Eric was on. He's a Comcast employee. He was a University of Phoenix graduate. And if you saw the open, Eric is also a small business owner with Detroit Made Inc. He submitted that testimonial for the University of Phoenix on his own, sent it to me. And Ava, if the viewers need more than that, tell them what else they can do when it comes to the University of Phoenix.
Oh my goodness, the testimonial is always the best, as I saw from the Comcast. Yes, that's so awesome to get a testimonial. Thank you. What a surprise to see that. My goodness. Thank you, Eric. And it was so awesome having him on the show too, doing such great things. Absolutely. I know I've spoken on University of Phoenix many times before, so I'll just keep it short. University of Phoenix is a great option, around since 1976. Classes as short as 5 weeks, 6 weeks. We have over 300 degree options, everything from business, technology, education, nursing, you name it, free application. I could go on, but instead, I'll go ahead and say if anyone is looking to complete that degree out there, please do reach out and get some information. We can help you piece it together. And I believe we always show that ginormous barcode, right, Lon?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it. Tell me when it's coming.
There it is.
There it is. Okay. Yep. And as always, you just hover your cell phone over that barcode and the link will pop up and you can fill it out and someone can help you today figure out how to piece together and complete your degree or go on for your MBA, master's, you name it. A great option. And what's going on at Comcast? Tell me the latest and greatest as usual.
Yeah, there's never a dull moment, honestly. Well, it's always about the customer experience. At least that's what we like to say is our number one product. And Xfinity Mobile is a very huge focus this year. So we'll keep it short and sweet too. You saw the testimonial in the open from one of our local property managers. She loves the service. www.xfinity.com/mobile. If you go to the site, you can check out all of the deals. But more importantly, there's this Xfinity Mobile calculator you have to check out. If you really love your provider, that's okay. Go in there and make sure they're giving you the best deal. You owe it to yourself. You can fill out all the blanks on the online calculator. And hey, maybe you find out Xfinity Mobile might work out best, may save you a few bucks, or maybe you find out that your provider is strong. Well, we hope you choose the other way, right? So www.xfinity.com/mobile. Go there, check it out. It's definitely worth your while. You should do it at least once a year. You should always check out pricing, right?
That's right. We're always learning, always finding out all the latest and greatest things out there. So yeah, absolutely. No harm in trying it out.
You got to do that too, Ava. Make sure you get there. Go there at some point this week. Check it out. Make sure you're not overpaying for your service.
Absolutely. I've got a whole laundry list of things that's on there. Make sure I'm getting the best deals out there. Always.
We mentioned we have just phenomenal guests this evening, and we're so grateful that they were able to all join us. So coming up on this episode, Dan Leach from 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, who works behind the scenes as our director, will come forward with a story of recovery he has shared before on live air, and two Philadelphians who are giving back in such a major way to their communities. But up first, a story with about every plot twist imaginable. The story of Ryan Finneran. March is Traumatic Brain Injury, or TBI, Awareness Month. According to the BIAA, every 9 seconds, someone in the United States sustains a brain injury. Every day, 137 people die in this country due to a TBI-related injury. And it could be a child falling off a bike, a car accident, a victim of assault, or even a football star. But the bottom line is we need to do our best and our part to support those living with TBI every day. Now, I had the pleasure of working with Ryan's older sister, Shannon, about 9 years ago. And at the time, she made me aware of this. He was in a serious accident. He had some injuries, and he had some time to recover. Well, back in February, his family invited me into their home to get the full story. So later on, Ryan and his younger sister, Melissa, now president of the family 501c3, the Finn Foundation, they're both scheduled to join us. But up first, a story that needs to be told, a short summary of Ryan's journey and the accident that would change his and everyone's life around him. In the summer of 2010, Ryan Finneran was 17 and just a couple of months away from beginning his senior year at South Lyon High School in suburban Detroit. According to friends and his parents, Kevin and Michelle, Ryan was a popular three-sport athlete, the consummate teammate, and by all accounts, well-liked.
Looking back at sports, they're fun playing like growing up, and I'm glad I got the time to be able to play them. I'm truly just thankful to be where I'm at today, to make the recovery I did. I mean, it would be cool. I tried playing baseball again, but it just wasn't the same. It was a lot more difficult.
That same year, on July 1st, Ryan and a teammate had a morning practice scheduled with their travel baseball team. On this routine drive, chauffeured by his friend, Ryan decided to lean his chair back and catch a quick nap before practice. He approached the corner of 8 Mile and Dixboro, where the driver ran a stop sign. Their car was struck, T-boned on the passenger side, where a resting Ryan only remembers falling asleep. Ryan, sadly, never made it to practice. His father, Kevin, received the first call.
Yeah, that's the call you always start getting, middle of the night. But the hard part, I guess, we were fortunate. We didn't know the statistics at that point of what was going on. And, hearing about it later, we would have been, petrified. But we just tried to stay together. And it was almost like our faith willed us to get through this, and that there was no doubt in our mind that he was going to make it through it.
I was knocked unconscious. They had used the jaws of life to get me out. They airlifted me to the U of M hospital, and I was in a coma for 18 days.
Ryan's sister, Melissa, was only 11 at the time of the accident.
I just remember turning that corner and seeing him hooked up to all these cords and had like a neck brace on, and I just bursted into tears. And I remember the nurse saying, "What are you scared of?" And I was like, I had never seen him like that. And I wasn't expecting to turn the corner and seeing him unconscious. And then it kind of hit me like, okay, this is serious.
Ryan's recovery time was unknown. He was in a coma for 18 days. He would need extensive physical therapy, learning how to walk and talk again. And the medical costs were starting to mount. The family went to work quickly. A then 14-year-old Matt, Ryan's brother, decided to do something.
we made this group called Team Fin, and we made shirts and bracelets that said Team Fin on it. And we were just selling them to people in the community just to try to raise money and help out in that way. And again, we got a lot of support from the community, and we sold way more than I thought, and we had to order more. And it was, again, that community impact and seeing them care about Ryan, it was very special. And so after doing that, you know, it was kind of like the stepping stone. It wasn't really a foundation, but, you know, I was like, you can really make an impact and get people to care and try to turn this bad situation into something better.
The family received overwhelming support from their community. Fundraisers were well attended. T-shirt and wristband sales earned revenue. But an unexpected group, the traumatic brain injury or TBI community, reached out. The Finnerens now support the same TBI community with their foundation. The Finn Foundation has donated meals, money, and even helped some with car repairs so doctor's appointments of the affected wouldn't have to be missed. Despite all of the post-accident obstacles, Ryan graduated high school on time in 2011 and shortly after moved to Mount Pleasant, Michigan to start earning his degree at Central Michigan University. He has since earned his bachelor's degree and is now engaged. He and his fiance also welcomed their firstborn Isaac to the world in November of 2020. Ryan's experience has taught him to take nothing in life for granted. He is now 28 and works as a job coach at NeuroRestorative, providing care to those who also have TBIs. His career today is inspired by his caretaker at Central Michigan University, an individual he met not even 2 years after his accident.
I just get inspired by Ryan and giving back at his job, and Ryan could go and work any job he wants for however much money he wants, and he almost stays with the job that he has because it means a lot to him. I think having this is a passion of mine, and being able to help change the world how he's changing it makes it really worth it.
Just the way the community of Southland and friends and family came together to help us, says it takes a village to raise a child, and I think that's very true. And you can really draw from people there to help you, and that's what we're trying to do with the foundation.
And just an incredible story about Ryan Finneren. Huge thank you to the family for allowing me to come into their home on a weekend and really gather all of the details regarding the story to be able to tell it. Now we'll bring in the star of the show tonight, Ryan Finneren. What an amazing journey you've been on since 2010. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, this story, it just, every time I watch it, I extract something different. But I want to start by what you said. You were in a coma for 18 days. So you fall asleep in this vehicle. It gets hit. You don't even know it happens to you until later on. Tell us about that moment when you woke up.
So, yeah, it was early in the morning. We were on our way to a baseball tournament game, and put my seat back to get some rest. And honestly, it felt like I just took a normal, just an everyday nap, just like an hour nap, and woke up. But I woke up and I was in the hospital, and it was 18 days later. That was kind of bizarre.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned before when we were talking, you looked at the calendar and you're like, is there a possibility it could really be August?
Yeah, I saw it was August, and that just did not seem right to me at all. And then kind of I got filled in on what happened, and
then there you were.
Yeah,
with obstacles. Yeah, I was going to say obstacles ahead. What challenges do you have now that you didn't have before the accident? Is there anything that comes to mind recently, or something that happens every day where you feel like, this is something that's going to last for an undetermined amount of time?
I say my hand-eye coordination is not what it used to be. I used to play the outfield when I played baseball, so really tracking the ball. So any object that's moving, I have a difficult time with depth perception and really tracking it. So I also have difficulty, I guess, transcribing what I'm thinking and putting it into words. So, and it's just something I have to work on every day and try to improve day by day.
Well, and in addition to helping yourself, you're also helping others with the work that you do now, which is also a great story. Talk about how your job was inspired by your caretaker from Central Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Well, her and just seeing all the other survivors in the hospital really inspired me to want to help others who've gone through similar circumstances as me. And once I went to Central and I had Bethany was her name, really kind of guide me and make sure I was on the correct path. That kind of inspired me to really want to help others who may be struggling or maybe having difficulties like I was having at the time.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but your younger sister, Melissa, is now the president of the Finn Foundation. We're going to invite her to come on at this time, and we're going to ask Ryan point blank, how's she doing so far?
Oh, she's doing awesome. She's really taken the reins for the foundation and really kind of steered us in the right directions. I mean, I'm really excited for all the future events and all the donations that we have planned for the future. She's really taking us to the right direction.
Well, there's the ringing endorsement, Melissa, right there. You're doing a good job. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much. What is essentially the goal of the Finn Foundation? And I ask you this in the context of events, because I know that I've seen some pictures. There was a 5K, you've done some bowling, there's been some private donations. What is really the ultimate goal for you?
Yeah, I would say it comes down to three things. One is raising awareness for TBIs so people can, take the necessary actions to try to prevent something like that from happening. Another would be to financially support families who are supporting somebody suffering from a TBI, because we as a family saw firsthand all the financial impacts it can have, not only when you're in the hospital, but after you come home. And then third, being able to offer emotional support to people who may be trying to support somebody with a TBI, just because, TBIs can be so unpredictable. And that is something that we as a family went through ourselves. And so if we can give anybody insight, and so they're not all the way in the dark like we were, to make that journey for them a little bit easier, is definitely a goal of ours as well.
What is one way the Finn Foundation has impacted other families? Do you have a good story? I thought the one that we talked about where the foundation paid for someone's brake job to make sure that their car was drivable to get to appointments. I thought that was really good. Has there been any others that were inspiring to you or made you know that you were really making a difference?
Well, we definitely try to stay connected to the hospital that Ryan recovered at, because we like to hear stories about success, but then also stories of people who may need financial or emotional support. So me and Ryan and even my brother Matt and my mom have made a few trips to the hospital to offer that support for them, whether we are bringing a care package that has gift cards to different restaurants or takeout that they can get, because we know that those days at the hospital can be long. Either that, or we usually do a scholarship at the high school for people who overcame some sort of adversity while trying to complete their education, just like Ryan did. I mean, Ryan graduated shortly after this accident happened on time. So to be able to financially support people in that way. And then, we're always trying to find different ways and families to donate to, whether an accident suddenly occurred and they're trying to navigate that, or an accident happened 10 years ago and they're still seeing deficits from that. And to know that they're not alone, and to offer any support that we can give.
Where would you like to see the foundation in, say, 5 years? Where would you like to leave it for the next president?
I would definitely like to expand beyond Michigan, just because I know there's a lot of people who are going through this outside of Michigan. But I think just for now, a short-term goal, maybe a little bit less than 5 years, would be to really gain and strengthen that relationship that we have with U of M Hospital, but then also expand outside of that and go to the different hospitals throughout Michigan, or at least Southeast Michigan. And, I definitely would like to see people outreaching to us and asking for help. I know it's not always easy to ask for help, but the more that we hear about different stories, the more people we can help.
And that was literally my next question. How do viewers get more info on your foundation? We've already shown the finnfoundation.org. If you're a private donor, you can always log on to the site. I know that for a fact because I've been there a few times. What's some other ways people can get involved, Melissa?
Yeah, so it's actually finnfoundationinc.org, and that will take you to our website. And there you can donate monetarily, or you can purchase some apparel like Ryan is wearing, where a portion of your payment will go towards our foundation, and you'll be spreading awareness yourself because you'll be wearing our foundation out and about. And hopefully people will ask you about that. but then also sharing the different stories that we will continuously be sharing on our social media pages. We're on Facebook and Instagram.
Well, I said Ryan was the star of the show. You're the star of the foundation. You both are extremely inspiring, and I hope someone else feels the same way about your story. Go to the site, finfoundationinc.org, and get involved and see if you can help. I really thank the both of you for jumping on tonight and joining us here on Hey, That's Easy. Thanks so much.
Thanks
you
for
so much for having us.
You're welcome. An inspiring story. Like I said, Ava, was one of those that just needs to be told. And it can never be told enough. What we're going to do for our viewers is on our Hey, That's Easy YouTube page, you can actually see that story in its individuality later. We'll have that posted to the site. And while you're there, if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button. We truly appreciate the support. Ava, let's introduce our next guest. Welcome, Samantha Emder. Thanks so much for joining us, Ava. Take it away. This is another great story.
Oh, yes. I've had the pleasure of talking to Samantha via phone and seeing some of the work she's done. She's a pediatric oncology RN nurse at CHOP. So this isn't your primary job. You actually work full time, and then you have a foundation that you sponsor. I'd love to share that story with everyone. I know a little bit more about it, but do tell us, how did Camp to Belong get started? What was the, motivation behind it? And tell us what it's all about.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm just humbled to be here with you guys tonight. So thank you again. So yes, I am by day a pediatric oncology nurse at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. And on the side, I started a 501c3 nonprofit foundation. We were founded in 2018. And this was a compilation of all of my life inspirations. So I became a licensed resource foster parent in the state of New Jersey back in 2012. In early 2013, I had my first child that was placed with me. And I just noticed that with each child I was fostering, they were all separated from at least one sibling. And statistically, over 75% of children that do come into foster care end up getting separated from one of their siblings. And so I knew that there needed to be a safe place where these children who are in foster care and separated from a sibling could come together and just feel like they have a community and a place where they truly belong. And so I mixed my personal experience through fostering, and I also have a 3-year-old daughter who I adopted through foster care, and just, the way that we've been impacted personally by sibling separation, and then also mixing it with my passion for camp. So I've been involved with various camps over a cumulative 20 plus years in the medical world. So primarily for children who have cancer or inflammatory bowel disease. And one night in, I think it was 2014, I was laying in my cabin at my oncology camp, and I just woke up in the middle of the night with this dream that there needed to be a camp just like this that existed for children in foster care. And so it took some years of planning and trying to figure out how to start a business when that's not my background whatsoever. And just truly mixing what I was, passionate about, which was camp, and seeing this important need to bring siblings together. And in 2018, we were able to establish our nonprofit status.
That is an amazing story. So a child of your own, you've had several. I think I read over the years, like 12 or more foster children.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Oh, and you see these children at the hospital all the time and what you do, and do such amazing things with them with just camps and everything else. So I would love to know, you told the story of how you got started, but what challenges do you face, every day, having to work full time, running the organization? What are the day-to-day kind of hiccups that you want to share that maybe we can help with today?
I would say the biggest challenge is time. There are not enough hours in the day. So, I work my 8:30 to 5 job. And then after work, it's, my full focus is on my daughter and or whichever child or children I have in my home at that time. And then the evening hours is when camp work gets done. And so really just not having enough time on my side. But I really believe in the power of volunteerism and any opportunity to connect. It really does take a village to not only foster these children, but to get a successful program up and running. And our entire program is based around reuniting brothers and sisters that are separated in foster care and providing them an opportunity where we can encourage them to build that sibling foundation. And so we're always looking for volunteers and people to get involved to, just share the mission and recruit, fundraise, etc.
Absolutely. And we're going to ask you about more about that in a moment. But please tell me, how many children have you been able to help through this organization? I know you can't probably give a specific number, but do you primarily help children in the Philadelphia area? Is this something that reaches across the nation? And how many lives have you been able to touch with this? Because it's amazing.
So I think, we were founded in 2018. We held our first summer camp, which was a 1-week overnight camp. We held that in 2019. We were able to reunite 7 family groups. So that was 20 brothers and sisters. And all of those children came from New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania. And that's our primary area that we do focus. However, there's actually other Camp To Belong locations across the US and one in Australia. And so cumulatively, as a larger organization, we have served thousands of children separated in foster care. Each location is its own nonprofit, but we work together to really support the other directors and just brainstorm on ways that we can empower the youth that are impacted by foster care. And then throughout the year, we also have programs, day-long events where children come together. We've hosted indoor swim parties in the wintertime. And then we served last year, in the setting of the pandemic, we provided camp activities to our campers' homes. And so we delivered camp to those campers. And, we are definitely doing that again this summer. And hopefully, as soon as it's safe, we're going to have some more in-person events as well.
My goodness, we got a lot of questions coming in, actually. I don't know if this is your jurisdiction, but you certainly have become a foster mom. Is the process to foster children and things like that, I guess, is there a place to direct them to something like that? And I guess the question is, how involved is the process? I would imagine it's pretty involved, right?
It is involved. It took about a year from start to finish to become licensed. I did go through a series of classes and then multiple home inspections, lots of people that come out and interview because they need to make sure, of course, that you are safe and that you're fostering for the right reason. So I would just encourage people to reach out to their local agencies because fostering is actually different from state to state, even from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, it varies. And so, sorry, my cat's here trying to distract me.
That's okay. I get an ambulance and a train, so we just carry on. Lawton's got to teach me where the mute button is one of these days.
But yeah, just reaching out to your local counties, and even on Facebook, there's a huge wealth of knowledge that you can find in organizations local, and that has been my greatest support system for me personally, and just networking with other people that are in your own state.
So you actually are able to bring children, siblings together who have been separated at a place where they can meet up and they can, is that the cat? It was an invisible cat. A place where they can gather and just be with each other, family, and have that unit and grow up knowing they have family out there. So that's amazing. How long do they get to spend with each other when you get together?
Our signature event is our week-long camp event.
Yes.
And this is Scooter.
Hi, Scooter.
And so we bring them out to a camp setting in the mountains. It's an amazing facility, and it's an overnight camp. And really, I think a lot of people just take for granted just being able to spend the, day in and day out doing things with their siblings. And so we really just try to focus on those activities. So for instance, our brothers and sisters get to celebrate a birthday together, because a lot of times if they're placed in separate homes, they may not get to share that experience. And so we collect donated gifts throughout the year. And then we set up a camp store where each camper gets to go shopping for birthday gifts. They get to wrap them and pick it out for their sibling. They make homemade cards and decorate birthday cakes where they get to exchange it with their siblings. So we have a big camp-wide birthday party. The kids absolutely love it. We also do a sentimental pillow exchange. So we have seamstress that donate materials, and each of our campers gets to sew a pillow and write a sentimental message that they then exchange for their, to their sibling. And that way their sibling as a tangible item that they can take home with them, and they can just, keep at their bedroom, or just as a reminder that something really meaningful from their sibling. We also have a give back volunteer day for our younger campers, and our older campers do a life skills seminar where they learn about different options. We bring in guest speakers, and what does life look like after you age out of foster care? What are your options? Are you going to go to college or go into the working force? We also have, of course, our campfires, and we have a big carnival every year where they just get to share your typical sibling bond that they might not otherwise get.
This is amazing. This sounds awesome. I want to get involved.
Please do.
I do all kinds of arts and crafts, but I'm sure there's much more talented people out there that want to share with this organization. So my last question to you, Samantha, is what can the community do to help? Where can they go to help you? Where where can they find this information to sign up, help out, whatever you need, donations? Tell us a little bit about how to get in touch with you and your organization.
Absolutely. So our website is www.ctbrv.org, which stands for Camp To Belong River Valley. And so all of my contact information is there on our website. And we're also on Facebook. You can email us. My telephone number's on there. Of course, we're always, beyond grateful for any monetary donations. And then also our volunteers. So, delivering those camper packages or helping us come up with, various camp activities, joining our board. We're looking for somebody that is able to do media content, fundraising, grant writing. Whatever your skill set is and your ability to volunteer, we will absolutely work with you and find a perfect outlet for you to get involved with our program. And, it's a cause that I really, truly believe deeply in. And I hope that, we can continue this program going and reuniting brothers and sisters.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Samantha. This has been wonderful. Absolutely. I know there's people out there that want to get involved with such a wonderful organization, and you can't do it all, even though you're Superwoman to me. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you again for having me.
Everybody to see the website down there. Thank you.
Wow, what a great story. And shout out to Scooter, who stole the show, right? In the background.
Well, there was a ghost scooter that knocked something down. Hey, it's live.
What an amazing story. I mean, it's just incredible. I remember seeing a piece on the news that featured Samantha and was just like, wow, of all the things that she does, she still finds the time she's really making an impact over there. Now, in addition to Samantha, there's another guest we have tonight that's making an impact in the area, Philadelphia area. Let's introduce our next guest. Let's welcome Barney Corrigan. Thanks so much for joining us. And this started off, it's an incredible story. It started off, you were just looking out for people, right? Just making sure if people needed food. It started in your house, evolved to the garage, and now you have like a food truck thing. Tell us the evolution of this story from day one.
Yeah, a year ago, almost to the day, we just moved here. I was a caterer, and I lost all my jobs, because of the restrictions. And I built a little food pantry and put it out front of our house. That was it. I put a post up on Facebook. Donations started coming in. I had to start storing them in the garage. So I said, you know what, let me put them on a table in the garage and open up the garage and see what happens. I had 8 people the first time. That one table turned into 2 to 4 to my entire garage, to my entire house, the basement, to now we have someone, anonymous person who's getting a building for us. It's just crazy how fast it's growing. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So how long have you been doing this, Barney? I know I've got to watch. You were on a couple of pretty cool shows already. So thank you again for joining us. But I mean, how would you even get that idea to just help people in the middle of a pandemic when everyone else is, we got to admit it, there were hoardings going on in the beginning of the pandemic. People weren't at their most generous, and you decide, I'm going to give back. How did this start? Was it just one day you walked out of your house and were like, I'm going to put my stuff out here? And how many lives have you been able to touch so far? How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so I was just watching the news like everyone else and to see everyone losing their jobs. And I remember I sold one of these, but it had books in it. And I thought it would be cool to just, stick some cans of food in there and see what
Yeah,
happens. Help some people out. They can come by at nighttime, maybe so no one sees them, because it's it's embarrassing for some people.
Oh,
But so it's only been like 8 or 9 months, and it's just where it's gone from there is just I don't know. I really can't explain it. I honest to God cannot explain how this past 9 months has gone, because it's just happened naturally and just so fast, and so people are so amazing in this world. You have no clue. It's
How many lives do you think you've been able to touch? I mean, how many people have you been able to feed over this 8 or 9 months? I mean, give me an example of the volume you're able to do. I know you're expanding right now, but I mean, did you have a line start to form outside of your house when this started? So take me through that progression, I guess. You put out some food, extra food, and then all of a sudden it's just people are dropping it off, and tell us that story.
Yeah, like I said, it started off with 8 people. It grew to like 12 to 15. So we have anywhere from 150 to 300, 350 every other weekend. The most last summer, we were averaging like 350 people every other Saturday. But at that same time, we were also averaging, this is crazy, 156 Amazon packages a day from around the world.
Wow. So people were sending in donations. They just heard what you were doing and they followed that lead. That is amazing. The power of people coming together, being able to help. And you were the catalyst that started this, Barney.
That's the crazy part of all this. I cannot wrap my head around that. That's just, I get notes from people in other countries saying I inspired them to go fill their van up and drop it off at home. Like, it's just, that's too much for me. It's crazy. It's wow.
We need to inspire more people to take that action, to do these good deeds, because yes, it is so rare, Barney, to have that thought and then to be able to take it to where, it's something that can grow and people can. So what are your plans for expansion right now? I mean, how do you see this looking in the next few years? Are you going to continue to do this? I know you're a caterer as well. So tell me your thoughts on the next couple of years and what you want to do.
Yeah. So we should be in our building probably in May, which is right down the street from us, not too far. I mean, how we've grown from that little thing to our own building now. I mean, I can't even imagine in 2 years. I would love to have a few of us, you know what I mean? A couple buildings. We have the pantry truck. It's mobile. Maybe a couple of them. Like, the more people we could help. The ultimate thing would be able to not even have to do this anymore. That would be the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? For there not to be a reason, or people are okay, and it's not how it is right now. So
that's
we'll keep doing it.
Right. To end hunger across. That is the great challenge.
So people don't realize how big of a problem it really is. I see it every other weekend, and it's bad.
In Philadelphia, yes, I know that especially been tough. And so what can the community and all of us out there do to help? I know you're overwhelmed with donations, but what type of donations are the best donations for you?
Yes.
I guess you could say. What's the number one item you'd like to see more of?
So we carry stuff other than food. We have like feminine products and deodorant and shampoo, baby food, baby diapers, like stuff like that's probably the biggest. You know what I mean? We had like 5 babies, I think, this past month, pantry babies. We had triplets, we had like twins. It's like crazy. Yeah. And these people, I know them all. We know each other by first name. We talk, we hug, we cry. It's not, they don't just pull up and we put a box in their car and they leave. We spend time every other weekend together, and it's like therapy for me too. It just helps me out. It makes me happy.
I can see that. So you're putting others first. So is there like a certain way you do this every day? Is there like a list of places you drive to right now that you're mobile? Do you have a route? Are you like a mailman at this point? Tell me the day to day. That interests me actually. Do you have like a list, like the vaccine list?
No, we don't. We've had a couple issues with the truck. Like right now, currently, it's just sitting out there. It won't start. But like homeless shelters, senior housing developments, and places like that. Yeah, and it's the same thing. They come to the truck and put stuff in a box for them and take it to their room. Yeah.
That's amazing. So we know what items you need. You need, obviously, baby stuff. Oh my goodness, and the
personal products. Yeah.
That sounds like very needed then. So how can people donate to you, and where can they send? People are asking, Robin, where can they send the money? Yes, how can we get funds to you, get donations to you? Yes, let's end hunger. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be so awesome.
What is the best way to make our donations and help you out, Barney? Because what you're doing is amazing. And in our city of Philadelphia and South Jersey, we need that so much. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we have our website. It's barneysplacefoodpantry.org.
Okay.
This is really cool. I busted my butt for like a week, and I got an app. So we're actually on the App Store. It's called Barney's Place Food Pantry.
Exciting! Congratulations!
Everything's on there. You can get to our donation page, like photos, our contacts. Yeah, we're in the App Store.
You're high tech, Barney. You're getting there.
It was a very simple process that took me way too long to do, and a little embarrassing. But yeah, our website. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We're out there. It's
so they can go to your site and figure out where to put donations and how to donate to you. I imagine you have all the apps for the PayPals and all that. So awesome. No other places I can think of that they could. I mean, that's every which way to get a hold of Barney, everybody. And yes, I mean, if you Google your name, Barney, it's amazing. Yes. You've done some really cool stuff and shows, being able to put the word out there, and so needed. One of the causes that's very dear to me, along with the children. So thank you so much, Barney, for being here with us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Oh my
Another
goodness.
great story. And the biggest takeaway I have from Barney was that he's part of all of these folks that he's helping. He's part of their story too. You know what I mean? And I think it's incredibly inspiring. Now we just need somebody to go and fix that truck. So hopefully, if somebody's out there that's a mechanic, maybe stop by or message Barney online.
There you go.
Help him out.
So you need to fix that truck. Yeah, that is essential. Wow, what an essential truck. And now I know what items to give to Barney's Foundation, and what's most important. And that is probably a very big deal to him, because if he has too much of something that, expires or goes bad versus what's, in demand. So very important to know that information. And so wonderful. Both of them, Golden Hearts and Ryan. Oh my goodness. So just wonderful so far.
3 for 3 on guests, and now it's time to introduce our fourth. He's a sports radio personality from 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, the host of the Task Force Sports Show, streaming on all platforms, and he's the director of this show called Hey, That's Easy. Mr. Dan Leach, I thank him so much in advance for coming on tonight and sharing his story. Dan, I know we have a really big basketball tournament coming up, and
there is. I've never heard of it. What's bad? Basketball. I've never heard of it.
Well, I'm guessing viewers are interested in your Final Four picks, but we'll get to that later. Your recovery story is one of the most inspiring I have seen personally. 10 years sober, correct?
10 years sober, January 22nd.
Amazing. Congratulations. For those that may be unfamiliar, let's go back to where this journey started. So just over 10 years ago, you decided enough was enough. When did you realize that it was overtaking your life, your addiction?
Well, and it's a great question, because obviously the stories are different for so many different people, and there's so many people. The most important thing, and why I'm always honored to share my story and help people in whatever way I can with the different platforms I have, is there's so many people out in the neighborhood that are struggling with various kinds of addictions, and a lot of people have no idea where to go for help. They feel like they're alone. They're obviously not alone. And for me, I was very lucky earlier in life to have family and friends that were really concerned and cared, because I was sent to rehab a couple of times. I did have an intervention. The first time I lasted 10 minutes, and then I was doing heroin within 10 minutes. After about 10 days at a place called Brighton Hospital. That was, was a long time ago. And then the second time I was kind of at an intervention, I was living in Costa Rica, where beautiful country, drugs were really cheap though. And my parents got very concerned. My boss stepped in, and I got pulled out of there, went to Atlanta to a rehab called Talbot. And I was sober for about a year after that. And now listen, different things work for different people. There's people that I know that literally tried to get sober once, never had a problem, or never relapsed. There's people that I know that have gone to 13 rehabs. it wasn't that I wasn't ready, but I wasn't fully there yet in those two different situations I mentioned. 10 years ago in January, I had been working as a server in a restaurant called J. Alexander's. And I got a quick story I'll tell that really, as you asked, like when I realized enough was enough. I was waiting on these four ladies one night, and I was deep into doing, a lot of different drugs. And it never really, I was able to function. So it wasn't like people necessarily knew. And they told me at the end of the night that it was like I was the greatest server they ever had. And they had thanks for making their night and all that stuff. And I thought to myself, I gave them like 20% of myself at most. And I did a good job, and I always tried to be a good server, but I was giving like such a small part of who I really was because I wasn't really happy. And I didn't get sober right that night, but within a month or two after that is when it really clicked to me. And I said to myself, this is a very well-known saying, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I reached out to my uncle, who sadly passed away a couple years ago, not from drugs, but he had gotten really sick late in his life, and told him that I was using again. Called my mother, bawled my eyes out for an hour, told her I was using again and had relapsed. Called a friend of mine that I worked with and said, listen, can you take me to the hospital? I didn't have money for rehab, I didn't have insurance. And I didn't want to be on I was on narcotics, on opiates. I didn't want to be on opiates to get off of opiates. Sure. So I just went to the hospital for 2 different nights. I was there for a long time. It was definitely not fun, but I think of that moment and those moments as what got me to where I am now, what got me to my first year, my second year, my third year, and most importantly, what got me to the ability, and Lawton, you know me for a long time, and actually early on, you didn't know, there was a day I was at your house and I was on heroin. You had no clue. I was like all weird and I wasn't doing anything. It got me to the point now where I use my platform on 97 on the Ticket or the task force shows that I've done with you and many others, and the different TV things that I've done. And I do whatever I can to get the message out there, because there are so many that are struggling and so many that don't know what to do or don't know they're not alone. And I'm forever grateful and humbled for that, because I've had people that have literally told me, and it always blows me away, but I take it very seriously. They've told me I saved their life. They told me that they were listening to a show of mine where I was bringing up recovery and addiction. They were on the way to see their dealer. They turned around. They were on their way to, use drugs or get a drink, and they stopped. And one guy actually lives in my neighborhood randomly, and on a walk last year during the pandemic, he told me, I never thought I'd get a chance to thank you, but I was listening to you 4 years ago, and you were talking about it. I was on my way to see my dealer, and I decided to turn around, and he's 4 years sober. It's like the end of Batman Begins. I never got a chance to thank you, and you never have to. But it's one of those things where I'm very lucky to be able to use my voice to help others, because that helps me. That keeps me sober and keeps me going. And that's really something that I never will think of lightly, and I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, and for those that are unaware or just don't live in Metro Detroit area and can't get 97.1, Dan has a sports show that he does live on the air, and there's been times where he'll talk some sports and then it will shift to recovery conversation, and just some incredible calls that you take. And like you said, you're honestly there to listen and to help.
Yeah, let me tell you one quick one, because this was if people don't know this, maybe we have people that are watching that don't listen to a lot of sports radio or don't follow people on Twitter. There's a lot of keyboard bullies out there, and you got to be able to take that. And I've gotten a lot better with that throughout the years. When I first started locally here in Detroit, 97 on the Ticket, you want everyone to like you, but I still would get a little upset when I would get. We have these things called ticket text where you can text in and you get these messages, and obviously Twitter and stuff, and people would say some mean things sometimes. I'm fine with that now. You want to have some people that think you're crazy, that's fine. But there was this one time where I was doing a show, and we were talking about recovery. It was, some sports topic. And someone texted and they hoped I died of a heroin overdose. Probably because I was a Michigan fan and they were a Spartan fan. Obviously, no one should ever say anything like that to anybody. Yeah. And I normally wouldn't get that upset, but for whatever reason, it really struck a chord with me, and I shared that text on air. And what that did was create I think I was on for 4 hours that night. For the next 2.5 hours, we had people calling in, sharing their stories. We had this father who had been estranged from his son, ended up being able to take him to a Pistons game. He would struggle with heroin too, I believe it was. Took him to a Pistons game. His son looked at him and said, Dad, this is one of the great nights of my life. They repaired their relationship. He was sober for years at that point. So I took that very terrible comment that no one should say to anybody ever, not whether it's me or whoever else, and I can handle it. And it turned into this beautiful night. So I'm lucky, Lawton, like you said, there's been moments like that where people will say some really mean things, and people that are very unaware or maybe don't have someone in their family that's had addiction or they had it themselves. And then to be able to educate them and turn that into such a positive for 2.5 hours, that was one of the greatest nights or shows in my career, because I was able to not just help myself realize what I'm able to do to help others, but others out there know they're able to get the help they need, and that there's people that won't understand, but it doesn't mean you can't move forward and get the help you need.
Well, let's take it back. Let's take it back 11 years. Capital City Stealth Summer.
Oh,
so this is a great story. So I
wish I had some video to play for us, by the way.
I know. I was producing a football broadcast on Access TV. This small minor league football team, some refer to it as semi-pro. Capital City Stealth. They're located in Lansing, Michigan, and they wanted their shows broadcast. Well, I had met Dan 2008, 2009 timeframe, and we had both shared that we had been, in broadcasting previously at some capacity. And Dan has the voice, that matters, right? So I said, Dan would be great for the play-by-play. So long story short, we both did. Dan was the play-by-play. I was the color guy, the producer. I did some audio. It was
incredible at that
low budget set.
You guys are the team. Yeah.
Yeah, but to think back and to know when I found out that Dan, had an issue and checked into rehab, to think that summer we were doing these broadcasts and he was probably using at the time. And then to think that
I definitely was. I definitely
just shortly after that, you utilized some of that experience to be able to get the job at 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, which is not just, you just don't walk in there. That's a tough job to get for just, your average person that might not have a ton of broadcasting experience. So what I want to ask you is, what happens if you don't check into rehab? Does that job ever happen?
It's a great question, and it's funny. I was watching this great movie called Sound of Metal with Riz Ahmed that I think everyone should check out. He's actually someone that deals with being in recovery, and the guy that's helping him at this rehab place is that says that having serenity is not trying to remake your past, like have a different past. And that really kind of struck with me. So I think back often because you want to root yourself in your past with an eye on the future. So I don't want to say I want to change anything, but I can tell you this. If I had not decided in my heart, and I was very lucky. I mean, I was estranged at times from my family, my sister, and friends, and I made some very bad decisions. But they always believed in me, and they always wanted the best for me. Even my boss, I was causing problems when I was still in Costa Rica, and my boss called my parents, and they got me out of there. So I had people rooting for me, and that also gave me the motivation to get the help that I needed. And had I not decided in my heart that it was time, because people can be sent to rehab, people can have interventions like I did. I mentioned my one friend that went to rehab 13 times, then went to prison for 5 years. So it's a different thing for everyone. But if you decide yourself and really accept that there's a better way to live, then you can get to where I and many others have gotten to and continue to each day. If I hadn't made that decision long, there's no way I would have gotten the job at 97.1, had the karma to get the job there, been able to work as hard as I have to become a respected member of the community, both media and otherwise, where I've done a lot of charity work and be able to involve myself in trying to do whatever I can to help others. So I know in my heart that if I hadn't made that decision, because what we always learn in recovery is if you put anything before your recovery, you're going to lose it. And yes, people can hang on and white knuckle and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I put the recovery first. And I remember that. I'll never forget it. One of my best friends in life, Cliff Early, you met him before, Lawton. He's been sober longer than I have. He went to the same rehab as me in Atlanta at a different time, but we became very close, lived together many times in Atlanta when I was there. And he told me, we talked through that whole period of time when I first got sober. I was living in a hotel, an extended stay hotel, which you remember, Lawton, and the Australian Open was going on. And I was up every night. I cleaned everything. I started drinking fruit smoothies. I started getting healthy food. He would talk to me till 5, 6, 7 in the morning. We watched the tennis all night. And that period of time got me through to the other side to understand that I was in the right place and on the right path. And I feel like that's a story that everyone that's in my position can tell, because it happens differently for everyone, but it's just as beautiful for everyone. And, I know we talked about my coin here. that I think you wanted me to share. My 10-year coin that I got from a listener actually sent it to me and had it FedEx to my house, and I was blown away when it came that day. And it's great to have this, but I have this because of everyone else. I share this with everyone else because I wouldn't be 10 years sober if it wasn't for all those listeners you mentioned that have called, if it wasn't for all the different people that I've been able to help that in turn have helped me. And that's the message that I always try to say, is that if you're someone that's struggling, pay it forward. That obviously get the help you need first, reach out to, the different programs that people have, whether they have insurance or not. There's great community stuff you can reach out to that's free, for people depending on where they live. But by you helping others, you're helping yourself. And I remember a friend of mine that was really struggling with alcoholism. I helped him, realize he needed to get the help that so many people need. He got it. Now he's sponsoring people. He's got a sponsor or sponsees after having a really tough time and almost, screwing his life up. So it's all about helping each other, man. And if you do that in whatever small or big way you can, then you make the world a better place, you make your life better, and you keep yourself accountable and sober and in recovery.
One day at a time, and you've made it 10 years, brother. I tell you what, man, I'm proud of you. And I know a lot of people are also very proud of all that you've accomplished. So,
someone, by the way, I believe this is Ava, your sister's asking, what does the coin says? What does the coin say? Ava, Elisa always asks like a question for every guest. I don't know if you plan her to do that, but she's always asking a great question. But no, it's got the Serenity Prayer on the back, and I'll read it for people.
Lawyer.
This is something that I say every night before I go to bed, and a lot of times when I wake up, and I think it's something that whether you're in recovery or not can really help you. And I think a lot of people that have watched this have probably heard this before. It's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's, like I mentioned earlier, that stillness and that kind of calmness that really always helps me. So it's a beautiful. I love this coin. It's the best.
Great. It's a great.
Oh yeah, Lisa says that you pay her later, by the way.
I just want to say thank you. Yeah.
Really quick, I wanted to throw this question up from Shay Jackson. It's not heroin. It's not a heroine from a drama story, but yes, it's definitely it's very tough. I will tell you this. And Lawton, you've been friends with me through all this, and I've had my family, and they all saw me go through it. And I mentioned earlier when you asked me the question about when I got sober, I went to the hospital and could have been put on, I went to rehab and was on Suboxone and things that make it easier to come off of the opiates. And I said I didn't want them. And listen, I'll be honest, it is painful. It's not fun, but I wanted, and I've been told this before, whether in rehab or by sponsors and stuff like that, that you don't want to forget that pain, because if you do, you might relapse. If you do, you might say, "Oh, I can do heroin again for a minute," and then the next thing you do, like I did, you wake up 6 months later, you've done it every day. So it's very painful. You're not going to die from it necessarily unless you're very, very in bad, poor health. A lot of people think that it feels like they're going to die, but to go through that and get off of it was worth all that pain. It was worth it because it was a constant reminder of I never want to be back there. And sadly, I've lost a brother-in-law. I've lost a very good friend's son. I've lost way too many to overdoses in recent years. And that could have been me if I didn't do it the way that I did it. And once again, I can never tell people what to do, just what worked for me. I would never tell them what they have to do because everyone is so different. But I can tell you that worked for me, knowing that I was in that pain for the week or so or 2 weeks. And you really don't come out of the full withdrawal for about a month or two. But, I mean, you're obviously able to go to work and function and stuff like that. That was a huge reminder for me that I never wanted to go back to that. I never wanted to have a night at the restaurant, like I told you, where I'm waiting on this group of women. And I say this with humility. I'm not saying it's a brag or anything. They told me I did an amazing job, and I gave them nothing. I'm sure I was fine, but I gave them such a small part of who I really was. That's when it really clicked to me that there was a better way to live. That I had to get out.
You've come a long way, my friend. I appreciate you sharing your story. We have just a couple of minutes left. Yeah. And obviously it's March Madness time. And
it is? Let the madness begin.
We want to hear your Final Four picks. I know you got them all set. So quickly, if you want to go through those, and because I know that you fill out thousands of brackets, right?
Well, listen.
Who do you like?
I got thousands of brackets. I think maybe 7 or 8 this year. Actually, before I get into my Final Four picks, I want to know Ava's Final Four picks. I'm just kidding. Ava's probably like, oh, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears, the Toronto Blue Jays, and Gonzo. Eric, by the way, loves the Zags. No, so listen, Lawton, it's going to be a crazy tournament. If people don't know, it's all being held in the state of Indiana. My boys in blue, though, my Michigan Wolverines, yes, they don't have a player named Isaiah Livers right now who's hurt. But I got to go with the Wolverines out of the East region. I still think they're good enough without Livers. Hopefully he comes back. I call him Livers and Onions. So I've got Michigan getting through in the East. And then you got the Illini, who just, found a way to win the Big Ten championship in the tournament. They're just such a dynamic team. They are, I think, the best team in the country, not named Gonzaga, and could actually have more talent than Gonzaga. I've got the kind of upset bracket with Texas Tech, who was there a couple years ago against your Spartans, Lawton. Chris Beard doing a great job. They play some great defense. And then the Zags, the overall 1 seed. I'm going to take them in to the Final Four, and it would be Michigan versus Gonzaga and Illinois versus Texas Tech. And I'm going to go with the Illini getting a championship game, facing the Zags, and winning the national title. So there you go. Illinois. I hate to do it because I'm a Wolverine slap, but unless Livers comes back a la Willis Reed, I don't think Michigan can do it against the way that Illinois team for Brad Underwood has been coached so well and so dynamic. So I'm going to go with Illinois to win it all and cut down the nets later in April.
Big Ten's been tough this year. I know that we're in the Midwest and we sort of have we're right in the middle of it, but it's the toughest conference of basketball this year, and to pair them and Gonzaga in the final, I think that would be excellent. I mean, you're looking at 2 of the 4 best teams without question. No argument for me. So,
all right, easy answer for you. Michigan State. They're in the opening round game against UCLA. Win or not?
Survive and advance. That is the only option. Yes, I do think they can win a game.
I say that.
It will depend on the matchup, but I think the play-in game was a little tough draw there. Now you got to play 3. We got to win 3 times to make it to the Sweet 16 to make it.
Please refer to it as the opening round, the first 4. I mean, 50 and my friend that I do a lot of shows with, Dennis for 97.1. He always harps on me when I say it's not the play-in game.
Yeah,
it really is an opening round game.
It is really an opening round. You're right. That's just it's a negative connotation around that. It's almost like you're sort of invited to the party.
Well, the field's a 68-team field, so you're in the field. You just have to play the first 4.
Yeah. So, hey, like I said, survive and advance. I think that's the kind of basketball team. Again, we don't know what kind of team they are, what they're going to do, who's going to show up, because we've seen them beat, top talent, and then we've seen them lose games, and we're scratching our heads. So, but yeah, I think Michigan. I agree with you. I think they're a Final Four team. As much as it pains me to say as a Spartan grad, but it is what it is. That eye test doesn't fail. They're a great basketball team. I think I like all 4 of your picks a lot. The Texas Tech one surprised me, but that's I like.
There's always got to be one, man. This is such a weird year. You got 6 sites in the first round instead of 8. They're all in the state of Indiana, like Hinkle Fieldhouse where Butler plays and Assembly Hall where Indiana plays. It's this game. You got the COVID rules. It's going to be a very weird tournament with very few. There's not going to be really that many fans. So the underdogs normally get a lot of rooting interest from the fans in the stands. That's going to be a factor. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of upsets. There always is, but there's going to be, I think, even more because of certain teams having played more games than others. Some teams have played 20, some teams have played 28, some teams have played 16, some teams haven't played a month, or 1 game in a month. So we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun, though. And Thursday's the first 4. Normally it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This year, Thursday's the first 4. Your Spartans play like 9:57. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Take the day off on Monday, friends. Take it off.
Ava, we're gonna make you adopt Villanova.
My gosh, all I know are the Jets and the Nets.
She's gonna adopt Villanova,
Michigan,
and they're gonna.
right?
Unfortunately for Ava, she's gonna adopt Villanova, and they're gonna last literally 1 game because they're gonna lose in their first game.
I guess I would steer that way if I had to.
Yep, take Winthrop. Take the Winthrop Eagles in that 12-5 game.
No, I'm loving it. Dan is very good at what he does.
He is. And you know what? Like I said, I like the Final Four picks. Dan,
by the way, that's my nephew's YouTube channel, Deferment. So follow that guy.
All right. Appreciate you coming on. As always, I mean, to tell your story, it's great, and it does truly help people. Appreciate it.
Yes,
it's an honor.
We need to hear these stories. So awesome. We
Oh,
need
yeah.
to destigmatize it and
Yeah,
talk
that's the
about
way.
it. The
Yes.
more we talk, the better. And
The
let
more
it
we
out.
talk, though, the more people know they're not alone. It's all about destigmatizing. So thank you both very much. I love you.
Awesome. Great guest tonight.
Yes. A wonderful
Fantastic.
show. Wonderful
Great.
time, as always.
For those that might have tuned in late, we'll have the show up on our YouTube page later on tonight. Just search Hey That's Easy. Click subscribe if you have not already. And we'll also have this airing on our Facebook page as well. If you're a Facebook user, log on, search Hey That's Easy, and like our page. We'd really appreciate it. Again, join us next month, April 20th, at the same time, episode 5. Our April theme is New Beginnings. Listen, that's going to be a good show too. We've got a lot of things in the production vault ready to go. So Ava, we'll certainly meet about that. A lot of good stuff coming up. To all of our viewers and guests, we thank you so much for watching. For Ava Anvari, I'm Lawton Luntz. Thanks again for joining us on Hey That's Easy.